Hey guys, what is up? Today I'm going to be talking about how I made my first $10,000 flipping phones and electronics, and that's $10,000 net profit. All right, and what I would be doing differently if I started today in 2024. So I want to back up here a little bit. I joined the phone flipping game back in 2018, 2017 ish, end of 2017, more 2018 than anything else. And back then, free ads were kind of all the craze. So we started there. However, over time, things started, getting banned and taken off of Facebook Marketplace and things like that. And so we had to, over time, pivot to paid advertising, which was around 2019 was when I really started hitting paid advertising pretty hard. And the reason I did that was because number one, things were getting banned. That was one of the biggest reasons. Let me just, there we go. All right, there we go. Cool. So the reason I did that was because my ads were getting banned. Things weren't happening like I thought they should have been, and stuff like that. So like I said, I grew up on the free ads, the Craigslist ads, the stuff like that. Um, my very first $10,000 profit month though came from Facebook ads alone. All right, so it was almost strictly Facebook ads. So 2019 hit. I had been doing it was like $3,000 to $5,000 in profit a month just from the free advertising methods that I was doing, which all but dried up. So we had to pivot over to paid advertising, and that was mostly with Facebook ads. So I did my very first $10,000 with Facebook ads. That costed me, I think it was close to, I think it was $1,500 the first time. I spent $1,500 in ad spend, and I made $10,000 in net profit. That's after ad spend, that's after costs, and that's after everything like that, right? So um, I did that, and the next thing that I did on top of the Facebook ads, one thing I got really good at was customer service, and that led to me getting a bunch of referrals. So what is a referral? So let's say you do business with somebody and you like their business so much that you're like, hey, you just start talking about them to all these other people. So a good example of this is my wife was talking to me the other day about Crumble Cookie, the cookie company that's like everywhere now, and how their cookies are so good. And she recommended them to me, and we had a cookie, right? So that is what is a refer. That's what a referral is, right? Is when somebody recommends something, and then another person goes and buys it, and that's what a referral is. Okay, so my first $10,000 in profit came from Facebook ads plus referrals, and then I would also say I'd have to say this: following up with my customers. So one of the things that I did pretty early on, because I realized this, I realized some people would come back more often than others to sell me more devices. So I thought to myself, and I was like, what if I reached out like first, and maybe I got to them first before they, maybe they lost my contact information or, stuff like that. What if I reached out to them every 30 days to see if they had any more items that they might be looking to sell? And lo and behold, they did. So um, that's where my first 10K kind of came from. My first $10,000 in profit was Facebook ads, repeat customers, and referrals. So that was the main way that I generated leads. Um, and there was still some action happening on Craigslist and like the free Facebook ads, but there wasn't much. Facebook put a hard turn on that a couple of years ago. I know some people are still trying to do it today, but it's not nearly as good as it used to be. It used to be crazy good, but they just don't allow it anymore, right? So what would I do differently today in this day and age in 2024 to make my first $10,000 in profit? So there's a couple of things that I would do much differently. Um, Knowing what I know now, and having hundreds of students at this point go through my process and how it's evolved and things like that, um, I would number one, I would start off with reach outs. It's crazy that I say that. Never used to believe in them, hated them, couldn't stand them, right? But I would start off with reach outs because The reach outs work for you in two ways. Number one, they're free. They don't require any paid advertising. They don't require anything other than your time. The only thing you spend is time, and your it's just time actually. Um, so I would start there, and I would start at like 50 a day. I would start there because if you only had like $200 in the beginning, like I had, you couldn't really start with paid ads very well, right? So I would recommend starting off with reach outs at 50 a day. Another thing that I would recommend is I would not start with the newest phones. I would start with like iPhone 11 through 13. The ones that you can buy for like 60 to $120 and flip for over 200. That's where I would start with phones. Another great way to start that I wish I would have known earlier on was freaking game consoles, like the VR headsets, the PlayStations, all of those things. I really wish I would have known about those things earlier on because the profit margin on those was so much higher than phones. So on phones, we aim for like a 30 to 40% margin, and that's on a good day, right? But on game consoles, you can sometimes get 50 to 100%, right? You can double your money on a lot of console deals. So like if I would have known about things like the Valve Index, back in 2019, I could have totally uh, taken advantage of that. And I didn't because I didn't have that knowledge back then, right? So um, this is like these are just things that if I knew back then what I know now, I would have gotten there. I would have gotten to that $10,000 much faster. But in hindsight, everything's 2020. So on top of that, outside of that, so those are the first two things. I would have done reach outs at 50 a day, 50 a day. And I want to touch on this really quickly too. The reach outs work in two ways. Number one, they get you used to talking to people, and number two, you get used to the word no. Okay, you need to be comfortable with the word no because you also need to know how to negotiate. So whenever somebody tells you no, that is only the first part of negotiation. I see Kendall is watching right now. He's about to have his first $10,000 profit month. What's up, Ken? So I would start with the reach outs, 50 a day, no matter what. We actually have an automation inside of Recelerator now that actually automates the reach outs where you can do 50 a day with no problem. It's crazy. I hated it so much that I built a Chrome extension to fix it. So, but I would do 50 a day manually if I was starting over. That's the first thing that I would do, and I would just take the money and I would just keep doubling it and doubling it and doubling it, right? The next thing that I would do is I would start paid Facebook ads. All right. After I got reach outs down, I'm doing 50 a day, right? I would learn how to do paid Facebook ads. I'd start those up because they're the easiest to start, right? They're a lot easier than Google, and I'll get to that in a minute. But paid Facebook ads are a great way to get in front of people and learn how to negotiate with people that are coming to you. Okay. So that's the second thing that I would do is I would start using Facebook ads. You're going to make about a 200 to a 500% return, or a 2 to 5x return, meaning you spend $1 and you make $2 to $5 back. Okay. There is a lag there in between when you buy the item and when you sell the item. Okay. Now you can do the great thing about paid Facebook ads that I learned that helped me make my first $10,000 was I could run ads for not only iPhones but MacBooks and iPads and cameras and game consoles. And that was really big for me, especially on the things outside of phones because the cost per lead was so cheap. And I just got used to buying all these other items. And so that is the second thing that I would do. Remember, this is the first way that I actually made my first 10K was from paid Facebook ads. The great thing about paid Facebook ads too is like whenever you start doing them and you get good at them and you get around that 10 to 20% closing rate, all you gotta do is spend more money in the correct way. I got a disclaimer that you got to spend the money in the correct way to do it correctly. But the more you put in, the more you can get out. The more messages you get, the more offers you can make, and the more offers you make, the more money you can make. It's the same thing with reach outs. If you do 50 a day, you're making more offers per day, and if you make more offers per day, you're gonna get more devices per day, which leads to more money, right? So that's the second thing that I would do. I would start off with reach outs, 50 a day, no matter what. Second thing I would do is I would get my paid Facebook ads up. Okay. The third thing that I would do is once I started making some money from that, probably around 2 to 3K a month, is I would start Google Ads, Google My Business. Okay. Now, those are two separate entities. Okay, so Google My Business is a business like profile that's built on Google, and once you get that thing freaking rolling, the money is free and the leads are fantastic. Okay, the great thing that I love about Google, and I learned Google and Google Ads and everything a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago now. I'm the first one that actually brought it to the phone flippers. Don't let anybody tell you any different. I did that. Okay. Once you get Google Ads tuned in, they take a little bit longer than Facebook ads to get leads and everything because you have to have a website. Most of the time, you have to have an LLC now, a couple of other things. But that is the third thing that I would do is I would get those two things set up, and I would start churning leads from that. I would start bringing in leads from Google Ads and Google My Business. I'd be getting reviews on my Google My Business. I'd be posting often on my Google My Business. If I was brand new, this is what I would be doing every freaking day. Every person I met, I'd be getting a review. I'd be getting a photo with the customers. All right, these are really important things to building basically a brand because the brand is actually you in this business. Okay, the offer is pretty simple. It's we pay cash for, right? Like that part is not very hard. All right, so that's what creates the what I call the recelerator lead machine or the trifecta of leads. So if you can get reach outs 50 a day, Facebook ads, and then Google ads running, it creates a trifecta of inbound and outbound that's happening every single day that literally cannot be stopped. If as long as you answer your leads, talk to your people, and make offers. Okay, so this is what I would do starting today if I were to start over. Okay, and maybe some people that are in my program can attest to this. Ken, I know you can. So, but this is what I would do. I would, like I said, 50 reach outs a day, Facebook ads, Google ads, get outbound and inbound working to your advantage. And then what you want to start working on is this. This is key. So you want your first lead trifecta going on. Reach outs, Facebook ads, and Google ads, and then you're going to turn your head towards the bigger animals out there, right? And that would be pawn shops, repair shops, and other places of business, right? That have phones or come into contact with phones often. Okay, this is what I did way later in the game. Okay, I didn't realize this until I had people that were actually messaging me on Facebook ads that actually owned businesses, right? So what I would definitely do is that would be the part that I recommend is going into those businesses and start talking to those people that just come into contact with phones often. Like there's a lot of companies out there, guys, that have phones for their employees that you can buy in bulk, right? That because they want to upgrade or something like that, right? But the first part of this is I've noticed a lot of people can't just skip to that part. They need to know how to negotiate. They need to know how to talk to people. They need to have these like base level skills built so that they can get to their first 10,000. But guys, it's never been easier to get to your first $10,000 profit month at this point. Like we have automated literally everything inside of our Recelerator program. If that's something you're looking, to get into, you can feel free to reach out to me. But you need to be doing minimum of 50 reach outs a day. If you say that's too much, I don't know what to tell you. It's not that hard. Maybe it might take 30 minutes, maybe. Like I said, we also have an automation that does that. But and then Facebook ads and Google ads, and all of that is where you need to go. Okay. If you want help doing it, feel free to reach out to me. But this is exactly what I would do if I were to start my business over from day one. Is I would focus on marketing more than anything else. I wouldn't focus on pricing. I wouldn't focus on any of that BS because I had a guy message me the other day actually, and he was like, "Chris, look at my numbers." He had bought and resold, I think it was like 15 devices and had only made like $240 in profit. He was making like $20 to $40 in profit per device. And I was like, dude, you really got to work on your negotiations. Like, you're getting devices, yeah, but like, the profit is not worth it. Like, you're putting in way more time, uh, you know, than you should be, and making very little profit. So there's the core four things that I always recommend people focus on in the very beginning, and it kind of goes into the lead trifecta that I talked about. But you need to focus on number one, reach outs. Number two, paid ads, meaning Facebook and Google. Number four is diversification, being able to buy more than an iPhone. That way you become more valuable to the customer, because if you guys only buy iPhones, you're not of any value to people that have Samsungs or people that own game consoles or anything, because in reality, what our business is, we are a valuable service to other people. That's all we are, right? It like, yeah, we're human and all that, but to these people, we are a service to them, right? They need cash, we have it. That's the business model, right? So you might as well buy as many different types of devices as you can, right? So with that being said, this is what I would do if I were starting my business over from day one, and I wanted to hit my first $10,000 profit month within 6 months, right? I would be doing 50 reach outs a day. I would be running Facebook ads. I would be running Google ads. I would be slamming my Google My Business with reviews and things like that. I would be asking every single customer to refer me business. I'd be giving them $5 if they dropped a referral link in their family group chat. Like, I would be doing all of those things if I were to start my business over from day one. And the crazy thing is when you do all of those things, it's hard to not get leads. Okay, like, not a day goes by that my students, whenever they do this, they don't get leads. Okay, it becomes. I had a guy the other day. He was like, "I need to take a day off. Like, I've been meeting up with people over and over again. They just won't stop." I got another student who is only running Google My Business stuff right now, and that's free. There's no ad spend in that. And he's like, my phone will not stop ringing. And that's because he built his reviews up. That's because he built his platform up to show that he is a service that people can call and get access to immediately, right? So with that being said, this is exactly what I would do if I was starting my business over today. That's what I would do. I wouldn't focus on one channel. I'd focus on multiple channels and get as many people in the pipeline every single day as possible. It goes back to the saying that I tell my students all the time. The best phone flipper is the best marketer. That's it. The best marketer will be the best phone flipper. So with that being said, guys, I hope this helps you, and see you guys later.